Shiyazh Pete just signed a 3-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys for $3.1 million. He went undrafted out of the University of Kentucky in the 2026 NFL Draft. But what you probably didn't know is that this same player is the first man from the Navajo Nation in the entire history of the NFL. Not the first Native American, the first Navajo ever. But before we break this down for you, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and hype the video. And with that, let's go. So how does a kid from the Navajo reservation with no Division I offers, no combine invite, and a name that nobody outside his community can pronounce end up making history with America's team? It started with the pandemic. In the spring of 2021, Shiyazh Pete's senior football season at Shiprock High School in New Mexico was reduced to just 5 games played in the spring instead of the fall because of COVID. 5 games of film. That was it. That's all college coaches had to evaluate him on. So his parents did the only thing they could do. They started reaching out directly to the schools themselves. From the Navajo reservation, 2 working parents picking up a phone and trying to find the path for their 6'8" son. The result was not what someone with his frame deserved. Pete had been first team all-district on defense and second team all-district on offense at Shiprock as a senior. He was massive and he was experienced. He was the type of body college coaches dream about. But Pete received 0 Division I scholarship offers regardless. He had interest from Division II and Division III programs, but the strongest interest came from Western New Mexico University, a Division II school. That was the ceiling of what his recruiting looked like. So Pete made a decision that almost no recruit made. He turned down those scholarship offers. He chose to walk on at New Mexico State. His parents would actually pay his tuition. He would become a member of Division I football team, but his family would carry the financial weight. He was 17 years old when he signed that walk-on agreement on April 30th, 2021. And his first year at New Mexico State, he did not play a single snap. He redshirted. He practiced. He paid his own tuition only to sit. The kid who took the gamble didn't even get a chance to see field time. By the outside world, this was a story. Walk on, off scholarship, buried on the depth chart, a reservation kid who would never make it out. But the world had no idea who Shiyazh Pete actually really was. To understand the player walking into the Star in Frisco today, you need to understand where he came from. Shiyazh Pete was born on May 25th, 2003 in Ronan, Montana on the Flathead Indian Reservation. His name is a Navajo word. It means my little one or my son. It's the kind of name a Navajo mother uses for her child. The irony is built right in. A name that means my little one, given to a boy who would grow up to be 6'8".
Yeah, it was quite a specimen. I mean, didn't really have no one to kind of relate to in terms of height.
His father, Natani Pete, is of the Salish and Navajo tribes, originally from Arley, Montana. He's a captain in the United States Army. His mother, Geraldine, is full-blooded Navajo from Tolicon, known in English as Sweetwater in Arizona. She's an educator, a military father, an educator mother, a household built on discipline and learning. The family lived in Montana, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico before settling in Apache County, Arizona, on the Navajo reservation. Shiyazh didn't come up through the football pipeline. He grew up practicing judo and martial arts in Missoula, Montana. At 8 or 9 years old, he won a gold medal at the 2011 Big Sky State Games in judo. He earned a yellow belt as a kid. The first competitive trophy he ever won wasn't for football, it was for martial arts. Football didn't even enter the picture until later. When the family was settled in Arizona, Pete enrolled at Red Valley Cove High School in Red Valley, Arizona. There was just one problem. The school didn't have a football team, not a single one. His teachers recommended he transfer to a larger school for both academic and athletic reasons, so Pete moved to Shiprock High School in New Mexico and joined the football team as a sophomore. And here's the thing. At Shiprock, Pete actually had 2 choices, right? Basketball or football. And at 6'8", basketball would have been the obvious play. But nope, Pete picked football. His reasoning was simple. He wanted more physical contact. That's the kid we're talking about. He chose football because he wanted more physical contact. And then COVID wiped out his entire senior year. No Division I school called either. And then he walked on at New Mexico State and didn't play a snap. This isn't a story about being underrated. This is a story about a community of nearly 400,000 people finally seeing one of their own walk into an NFL locker room. But then everything changed at New Mexico State. Jerry Kill arrived as the head coach and his staff saw what nobody else had seen. They took the walk-on and put him on a full scholarship. Pete won the starting job. Then everything changed at New Mexico State. Jerry Kill arrived as the head coach and his staff saw what nobody else had seen. They took the walk-on and put him on full scholarship. Pete won the starting job at left tackle by the end of his redshirt freshman year. He appeared in 12 games in 2022. He started the final 9, including the Quick Lane Bowl. New Mexico State went 7-6. The Aggies set a program record with 25 rushing touchdowns. They put together 3 straight games of more than 200 rushing yards to close the season. And remember, this was the same kid who couldn't get a single Division I offer coming out of high school. Then came 2023. Pete started all 15 games at left tackle for a New Mexico State team that finished 10-5 and reached the Conference USA Championship game. The Aggies beat Auburn 31-10 at Jordan-Hare Stadium in November of that year. At 20 years old, Pete was named First Team All-Conference USA. He had become one of the best left tackles in the group of 5. But 2024 brought the kind of test that defines players. Pete suffered an ankle injury in fall camp. He missed the first 6 games of the season. He had been on the Outland Trophy and Lombardi Award watch lists. The award buzz disappeared. He returned for the final 6 games, but his draft year had been compromised. After the season, Pete entered the transfer portal, and this time the offers came in: Iowa State, Kentucky, Michigan, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, Stanford, USC, Vanderbilt. He even took a visit to Vanderbilt, where his former New Mexico State head coach Jerry Kill was on staff. But Pete didn't pick the sentimental choice. He committed to the University of Kentucky on January 19, 2025, on the final day of the winter transfer window. He chose Kentucky because of the pro-style offense. He enrolled in time for winter workouts and spring practices. And then, in 2025, Shiyazh Pete became the player everyone always thought he could be. He started all 12 games at left tackle. He recorded a team-high 35 knockdown block. He logged 100 blocks at the point of attack. He was named one of 4 game captains at Kentucky's game against South Carolina. The kid who couldn't get a Division I scholarship was now a captain in the Southeastern Conference. He even finished his bachelor's degree from New Mexico State in May of 2025, while simultaneously studying for a graduate certificate in public administration at Kentucky. 2 schools, 1 semester, both finished. But the draft process was still brutal. Pete was not invited to the NFL Combine. He worked out at Kentucky's Pro Day on March 11, 2026, listed at 6'8" and over 300 pounds. ESPN's Jordan Reed ranked him the 36th best offensive tackle in the class. Mel Kiper Jr. had him 46th. Dane Brugler of The Athletic had him 54th. The scouting reports said the same things: long, experienced, solid tape, but also a project, leverage concerns, athletic limitations. One report inside the Cowboys coverage wrote that if his leverage gets bad, NFL edge rushers would put him in a blender. The label was developmental. The ceiling, according to most analysts, was a practice squad swing. Then draft day came, round 1 passed, round 2 passed, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, round 7. The phone in the Pete family living room never rang. His parents were there with him, his father Natani, his mother Geraldine. The same 2 people who had been making cold calls to college football programs 4 years earlier. All 7 rounds passed. Shiyazh Pete was undrafted. Then the Cowboys called. Cowboys offensive line coach Connor Riley had been at Kentucky's Pro Day the month before. He had personally watched Shiyazh Pete work out. After the draft ended, Dallas moved quickly. On April 26, 2026, Shiyazh Pete signed a 3-year, $3.1 million undrafted free agent contract with the Dallas Cowboys. And within hours, the Navajo Nation office of the president released a statement from President Boo Negrin. He said Shiyazh Pete represents more than football. He represents where he comes from, the work it takes to get here, and the pride of his people. Moments like this, the president said, show young Navajo people what's possible when you stay committed. Because no Navajo had ever done this before. That history goes back generations. But from the Navajo Nation specifically, Shiyazh Pete is the first one, ever. The Cowboys didn't just need a feel-good story. They needed offensive tackle help. Tyler Guyton, their 2024 first-round pick at left tackle, posted a 57.5 overall PFF grade in 2025. That ranked 71st out of 89 qualified tackles. His pass blocking grade ranked 81st of those 89. He missed 7 games during the regular season due to injury. Dallas knew it needed depth, so they used their first offensive pick in the 2026 draft on Penn State left tackle Drew Shelton in the 4th round. They signed Sidney Fugger of Baylor as an undrafted free agent, and they signed Shiyazh Pete. All 3 of those players had been left tackles in Power 4 conferences. Shiyazh Pete is now wearing number 75 for the Dallas Cowboys. He works under offensive line coach Connor Riley. the same coach who scouted him at Kentucky's Pro Day. Riley spent 6 seasons at Kansas State before joining the Cowboys, where he coached current Cowboys center Cooper Beebe to All-American status. Riley is regarded as one of the top offensive line coaches in college football. At rookie minicamp at the Star in Frisco on May 1st and 2nd of 2026, Shiyazh Pete spoke to reporters. He said it's a great honor. He said to put on the Star is surreal, but he said he has to earn that star. He wouldn't say he's an official Cowboy yet. That's the same kid, the walk-on, the reservation kid, the 17-year-old who paid his own tuition, the kid whose first high school didn't even have a football team. He walked into America's team and refused to say he was officially one yet because he hadn't earned it. Shiyazh Pete, number 75, a Dallas Cowboy, and the first man from the Navajo Nation to ever wear an NFL uniform. At 22 years old, the story is just getting started.